Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to another episode of the Travel Podcast. My name is Hayley Sparks, brand ambassador for Not Just Travel, and I am so excited to bring you a very magical episode this week because we are diving in to all things Disney, yes, and we have a special announcement, so do stay to the end of the podcast. I am joined by none other than Amy-Louise, who works with us here at Not Just Travel. Amy is looking after our social media. She's very creative, but more importantly than that, she has to be the queen of Disney. Amy-Louise, welcome to the Travel Podcast.
Thank you so much, Hayley, for having me. Yes, Disney, Queen Disney, Mermaid, whatever you want to call me. Yeah, that's me.
It really is. You live and breathe the Disney lifestyle, the outfits, the makeup, the persona. It is you through and through. And with your combined love and knowledge for travel and not just travel, the business and your love of Disney, there was no one better to join us on this episode because I think having a Disneyland holiday at one of the resorts for so many of us is on the bucket list, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, it's that goal holiday. It's that holiday that you save for and you plan for years before you actually go, just to make it exactly how you want it to be.
It's so true. And for all the Disney addicts like yourself that go on a regular basis, then there's always something new to talk about. There's something new to explore. And in this episode, we really want to take people on the Disneyland journey. So whether you're somebody like myself that's never been, that's desperate to go, or you're somebody that's a real fan and you want to know all of the latest updates, the insider tips, the news that's just been announced about a very special package that everyone will want to know about, then please do stay tuned to this episode because Amy-Louise is going to unpack all of it. And if you're not like booking your seat on the plane to go to Disney by the end of this episode, I don't know what will make you any more excited than this. So let's kick off this episode, Amy-Louise, by talking about Disney World Florida, the iconic Disneyland, and what makes that different to any of the other parks and resorts.
Where do I begin? So Walt Disney World spans over 43 square miles of fun. We're talking, and that's growing because there is a huge expansion already just announced. So it is the biggest. If you think about Anaheim, Disneyland Anaheim in California, the original, the OG. Yeah, and you've got California Adventure there as well. So if I think about there, and if I think about Disneyland Paris, and we start thinking about Japan and Shanghai, let's take Anaheim and Paris. What I love about those two is that they're walkable. You can walk between the two parks, so it's very accessible, and you can easily do that in a day, which we'll talk about more. But Walt Disney World is connected by the most amazing transport links. So you've got the monorail. You can get there by boat, which I've done, and it's amazing. But the buses are incredible. They're so frequent. You can jump and park hop so easily. And then you've got the Skyliner. So connecting, Disney Springs to the resorts, to every single park. Walt Disney World is, a world, 4 parks over that space. It's a wonder, and it's the one. And you've got the Florida sunshine as well, which, is stunning as well. But 4 beautiful theme parks, the Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Disney Studios, you've got Epcot, you've got Animal Kingdom. It is a true world, really.
No wonder so many of us dream about going there. So Amy-Louise, let's talk about the Disneyland holiday planning, because as we said, for some of us, we might save for years, or it might just be a bucket list destination that we're wanting to actually make into a reality. So what would you recommend to people who are thinking about planning and booking? How much time realistically should people kind of set aside to plan this trip of a lifetime?
Yeah, well, you said it there, a trip of a lifetime. If you're going to plan something like that, if I think about, an example, my neighbours are about to go, are going, but they booked 2 years in advance. So you do find that families do that to make you want to say yes in Disney. You don't want to say no. You want to say yes. You need to kind of have that extra time to plan, to save, to make sure. And there's so much on social media. And you can use experts like myself to help guide you through and to make sure that you do everything you want to do. And if it has a price tag to it, then you've planned for that and everything. You've budgeted to do it. So planning, is key for myself as a Disney adult. Yes, that is definitely me. For me, it's not just about the rides, the food. It's more about, when you follow me and you hear about my adventures in Disney, I'm about the dress. I'm about the outfit. I'm about the ears. I take it all and I plan it all a lot. And I help a lot of people do the same because, if you can, with children, you want to make sure that they have the dress, that they feel like, or the outfit, the right Star Wars or the right Marvel thing. And if you can do that before you go and take a few things with you, that also really helps with the cost. So yeah, planning is key. Planning is key to make sure you do everything you want to do and you hit all of those things that and you come away thinking that was the best holiday I've ever had. And, I did everything I wanted to do. So yeah, planning is key, and as much planning as you can do.
It all sounds so exciting. Let's talk about these insider tips. So, are there particular times of year that we could recommend to listeners to go if they want to avoid maybe some of the queues and the crowds and things like that?
Yeah, so I mean, Walt Disney World, there's always something happening. You if it's not Valentine's, or it's Christmas or Halloween, you've got Epcot that does the flower shows and all the incredible events that happen there. So these are going to attract more crowds. So I always say use the Genie app and use your Disney app because you can see them where it's busy, but there's 4 parks. That if you think how many people visit Disney World, they're spread out of those 4 areas. So I've never experienced, I've been there many a time, and I've never experienced anything where the queues are excessively long. You can use Lightning Lane, and why not put a couple of some dollars behind making sure you get on that ride or you experience that attraction. Another top tip of mine would be for fireworks. So you're there for 14 nights, for example. You don't need to watch the fireworks every evening. And let me tell you, when the fireworks are on, the rides are quiet. So if you've watched the fireworks and you feel like you've had that experience, take this time, or a parade. Don't forget the fireworks, also a parade. If a parade is happening, everybody gathers on Main Street to watch the parade. So at this point, the rides are quiet. So head to there then. So that's a really good tip to do. Yeah. And avoid, if you can avoid school holidays, not everyone can avoid it, but for example, I mean, this isn't Walt Disney World, but Disneyland Paris. A lot of people check in for a long weekend, so they're kind of leaving Monday, Tuesday, and I'm sure it's the same in any of the Disney parks. But I usually start going like Tuesday or Wednesday because then people haven't checked in yet, and the footfall is generally quieter during those days.
But for people who aren't maybe worried about going at the most popular times, let's talk about some of the times of year that they really go to town at Disney. So I can imagine Christmas, for example, must be something else.
There's nothing like it, and I would love to go for Christmas one day. I have been during the Christmas event, and it is incredible. Like the Christmas tree. I mean, I was very lucky enough in Disneyland Paris to go for my hen do, and that was actually at Christmas. So we've got so many lovely images of being in front of the Christmas tree. But there's nothing like the moment you step through a Disney gate, you are free of all the worries out. That currently kind of are around you in real life, if you like. You step into a Disneyland park and you get that chance to just forget that and just be part of the magic. So Christmas is, yeah, beautiful. I've been on Halloween. I actually went on Halloween last year, and yeah, they decorate the haunted mansion. I got to see it as Nightmare Before Christmas, and Jack Skellington, and inside I filmed everything because I couldn't believe it. And Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite rides. But no matter what, Disney don't do things by halves. And if you go on to Disney Plus, there's so many great like documentaries about how they decorate the parks overnight, because guests leave and then these amazing teams come in and fill places with poinsettias, and they fill things. It's amazing. I'd recommend watching any of those documentaries on Disney Plus to see how they transform the parks for the holidays.
So Christmas sounds incredible, but I would love to get your top tips and your favorite areas to visit within the parks. As you've been so many times, you must have quite a few on your hit list.
I do, and I was lucky enough to get engaged in Disney World. I have been known to do Disney in a day. You probably think how, but with the right planning, like I said, you can do Disney in a day if you just hit the places and do the things that you really want to do. So the things I have to do. So let's start with Magic Kingdom. Let's start with the magic. So always Ariel's Under the Sea Journey, because yeah, I got engaged there with Ariel. Tron is brand new, and I actually haven't done it yet. Last time I went to Walt Disney World, they were just doing kind of testing and watching it go. I mean, in COVID and lockdown, I was watching. We couldn't travel, could we? So I was just like traveling through reels, and I was watching Tron. The ride out in Japan. So it's so exciting that we've now got it at Walt Disney World. That's on my hit list. I have to do that next. Haunted Mansion, I mentioned that just now, but every Haunted Mansion is different. Whatever park you go to, it looks different. There's different decorations, and it's one of the first rides I ever went on back in the 90s in Disneyland Paris. And I love going to each park and seeing how different it is. And it's probably the only ride, not the only ride, but Walt always wanted to have some kind of ghost train or haunted house in the Disney parks, and he had this dream, but he wanted it to have these kind of special effects and be like it to be unlike anything else you've ever experienced. And he didn't ever get to see the first one in California, but it's iconic, and I love every Haunted Mansion. Peter Pan's Flight in Walt Disney World. If you are listening and you've been to Disneyland Paris, the one in Magic Kingdom, oh my goodness, you queue through the story. So you see Tinkerbell flying over you, see Nana. It's amazing, and you're queuing for the ride, and I actually think the queue is actually better than the ride. You can jump on the ride quite easily in Disneyland Paris, for example, but the Walt Disney World Peter Pan's Flight is a must. Expedition Everest over in Animal Kingdom, always have to go on that. That's the most incredible ride. It is a coaster, but I wouldn't say it's to adrenaline. It's just incredible. You look for the Yeti. There are some surprises as you go around. I remember watching Wish You Were Here as a child and seeing all of this. So I get to live it now, which I'm very excited. I always go to Hollywood. I always ride every Hollywood Tower hotel. Again, that's actually now being taken over by Guardians of the Galaxy, especially in California. They've already done that transformation, but I love the Hollywood Tower Hotel. I love a drop ride, and it's iconic. The fourth dimension and the Twilight Zone. It's incredible. And in the Hollywood Studios, one other ride that really calls to me is Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Rail. There's a theme song to it, and it just stays in your brain, and the animatronics and the visuals, everything about that ride I just love. So these are some of the key rides that I will always ride when I go to Walt Disney World.
There is so much, isn't there? And that is just a taster. But my question is, Amy Lou, for somebody that is a massive Disney fan, but I am the opposite of an adrenaline junkie. So I'm not one for rides, roller coasters. They make me feel scared, sick, just nothing worse. Would I still enjoy it as somebody like that? Any listeners that are thinking, oh, I'm not a fan of roller coasters, does that matter?
No, because it's the magic. It's being there. It's people watching. It's seeing Disney through your children's eyes, or maybe seeing it through someone that's never been there before. There's so much. There's so many attractions. One of my favorite ones in Hollywood studios is Beauty and the Beast. It's basically a Broadway West End production, and the actors and actresses and the stars are just incredible. I get very moved by these kind of things. I remember my eyes just welling up because I'm just so in awe of these people that put these productions together every day. So there's so much to do, and there are so many rides. There's children's rides. There's the bigger rides. There's something for everyone, and so you don't have to be, if you're an adrenaline junkie and you just want to even have a softer day. Maybe you did that the day before and you just feel like, I am exhausted. I now need to have just a chill day. There's something for everyone.
It really does sound up my street, and I love the fact that you don't have to be jumping on the fast rides to immerse yourself in the experience, the parades, the fireworks. There's so much going on. Let's talk about the age groups then that you kind of see at Disneyland. What would you say it's sort of in terms of that?
Well, it's funny you say this because when I go to any theme park, especially Disney, you can, whether you've got young ones, you can hire buggies, but you can also hire mobility scooters, like scooters. So, you know, every day, if you think about our everyday lives, we some of us, can't do 8,000 steps a day, but we go to Disney and we do like 20,000 steps. But if that's too much, and then, we talked about how big Walt Disney World is and everything, you know, I see other generations and especially the scooters, and I just hope with all my heart that will be me and my husband one day, still going, still enjoying the magic, doing what we can do, but hiring the scooter. So for whatever age, you personalize your itinerary around that.
So, Amy Lou, it really does sound like Disney World just has something for all age groups, something for every style and taste. You can just make it the experience that you really want it to be. So, talking about that, as we said at the beginning of the show, for a lot of us, and especially people with families, it can be that bucket list more luxurious holiday that perhaps takes time to save for. Perhaps I know some people, like your neighbours, they plan and book it 2 years in advance. Have you got any tips for people where they can still get the most out of the experience, but perhaps could help them save a little bit of money towards the cost of everything?
Let's hit it first with the food. Okay, so you can share food. That's a great thing to do, but there is something coming exciting at the end of the show. But in the past, when that hasn't been happening, when I've been, you can definitely do that. It means you can taste more things. That's what I always believe. The accessories, your children or maybe yourself, you want to feel immersed. You want to be like your favorite character. Well, that's quite expensive. So there are so many places on the high street now where you can get things and take it with you, so they can get dressed in the morning. You can even surprise them with it on the morning, and they get dressed up. You don't necessarily have to pay the Disney parks price tag. And that leads me on to a story. I was in Disney Hollywood Studios, and I was in a beautiful souvenir, one of their boutiques, and there was a Little Mermaid stand. And I fell in love with these cushions. They're actually in the background. And they were over $100. They're about $100 each. And I thought, well, with a cushion, you need at least 3 of them. And like, $300. I know it's my anniversary holiday, but like, that's a lot. So I checked the Disney website, and on the Disney website, they were £25. And I could have them shipped to my house. I wouldn't have to worry about the luggage or bringing them home. So I think there's some really good top tips there that if you see something, is it on the, just check the website for comparison as well, because that can be a great tip.
Love those tips. As you said with the food, American sized portions. So you can
I think I'm
share.
going to share, but I will never ever share my Dole Whip.
Yes, we were talking about that before we started recording. For anybody listening like me who didn't know or doesn't know what that is, it's like a delicious pineapple ice cream.
Ice cream, soft serve ice cream. I usually go with the one that you get pineapple juice on the bottom, and then they top it off with with the whip. And when I say like soft serve ice cream, it is phenomenal, and it's iconic. It's iconic to all the parks that serve it.
So let's now give the listeners some advice of what else they can do outside of the park. Obviously, that's the main attraction, but there's so much more to see and do, isn't there?
So much. So when you're in Walt Disney World, you are in Kissimmee. So if you can, if you've got a car, or you can get to Kissimmee. There are some great places around there. Some great souvenir shops. There's some, American chain restaurants, Denny's and IHOP. Two of my favorites. Maybe a Dunkin' Donuts. So you can experience some other kind of American style things as well. There's some great shops. You've got Disney Springs. Now, I remember going to Disney Springs on my first time there because they had a particular Spirit jersey, an Ariel inspired one. I still remember it to be so magical. I only went last year again, and I just fell in love with it again. So Disney Springs is free to park at. It's really easy to get to from any of the resorts. But you've got a World of Disney there. You've got a Harley Davidson. You've got all these. I think for sure there's a Pandora. But there's a lot of retail there. A lot of beautiful restaurants. And one thing I have to do when I go back next is the amphicars. So these are a water tour. They're like 50s inspired, like Cadillacs, and they have their own drivers, and you go from land to water, and it takes you on a tour of Disney Lake, so you can see Disney Springs and see some different sites, all from a different angle. And you can find the amphicars next to the boathouse. Now that is a restaurant. So there's so much to do. I think it's nice to have down days and not to be in the park every day, because there's so much more to see and you want to kind of experience everything. If you're feeling the heat, you've also got Typhoon Lagoon, you've got Blizzard Beach, you've got the two water parks, and they are incredible. One of them Blizzard Beach, I believe, has ski lifts and some of the most amazing water slides ever.
There really is just so much, isn't there? No wonder it is on the bucket list for so many of us. It's the holiday of a lifetime, the holiday of dreams. Every moment of it sounds just so dreamy, magical, exciting, whether you're an adult or a parent. Just bringing back that nostalgia of your childhood. I think we all grew up with Disney, didn't we? What is your favourite Disney film of all time?
It probably comes at no surprise that I'm going to say The Little Mermaid. But then that goes back to 1989, and it's a childhood memory with my nanny, and it's something that I hold very dear to my heart. So it'll always be The Little Mermaid. But also The Princess and the Frog. I love Tiana. I just adore her. I love the music. I think I'm a huge music fan. I'm a huge Alan Menken fan. So he wrote the music for Little Mermaid, for Aladdin, and I think the Disney films are all about the music as well, and the animation. So I would say definitely The Princess and the Frog and The Little Mermaid.
Mine's The Little Mermaid too. Absolutely love it. Yay! Disney twins. We've talked about so much, Amy-Louise. It is hard to even get my head around the fact that Disney is just an expanding empire, ever expanding, just is constant, isn't it? Always new things happening. And you have that insider info. So what can you tell us? What's coming up next?
Yeah. Okay. So Walt Disney World has just announced its biggest ever expansion, and it's going to be a new 14-acre area within the Magic Kingdom. And I mean, even as kind of Disney, we've now got Star Wars, the Star Wars family there, you've got Marvel. So it's ever growing anyway, not even just through the fantasy, the fantasy part of it, it's ever growing. So that's a huge project that's coming. For this year though, you've got Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is a new water ride opening, and they're teasing that at the moment on social media, and they're showing the animatronics, and it looks incredible. Like I need to go back. But if I go back to Walt Disney World, I'll probably do a Disney cruise at the same time and do a 7-day cruise with Walt Disney World just to make sure I'm hitting both of those. And then what else is coming? There's a new Moana, the Journey of Water. There's a new Moana ride opening as well. So there's always something to see. And if you haven't been for a couple of years, you wouldn't have tried Tron. So Tron will be new. If you haven't been for a couple of years, even the Guardians of the Galaxy Rewind, which is a hybrid coaster and is like a virtual queue. So there's always something new to try and always something new to see and experience.
That's why Disney addicts like yourself go back again and again. I think most people listening like us will be hardcore Disney fans. But what would you say if anyone listening is maybe going because they're taking children or they're going with friends and family and they're not really into Disney? Do you think that they'd still have a great experience?
Oh yes, because remember, Disney World isn't just a Magic Kingdom. It's not just the fairy tales that we are also fond of. It's ever growing. I mentioned earlier that, we've got Star Wars, that's now part of the family. We've got Marvel. So I think there's a little bit of Disney in everyone. And although you would love to, people say they'd love to hate it. And I think seeing it through other people's eyes is such a big thing as well. You may not be, but your children might be, and seeing their happiness brings a whole new level to it. But there's even like, for example, the Indiana Jones. It's that show shows you how they did all the stunts. So there's always something there, right? There's always something there for everyone.
I think it's just got so much appeal. As you said, you've got all the movie side of it, the film. So if you're not into the more animation Disney side, then you might be a film lover and the Indiana Jones will really appeal to you. And I think the atmosphere, I can imagine seeing, especially the children's faces lighting up when they see the characters and the fireworks and the magic of it. I think you'd have to have a pretty cold heart not to join in and feel the magic and the love of it all.
Yeah, it would warm the coldest of hearts, 100%.
Now, for the exciting part of the podcast, if you've joined us from the beginning, you would have heard me mention that we had a nice announcement for you at the end. It is the return after 5 years of the Disney Dine-Arounds. And Amy-Lou, I know that you had a conference, didn't you, earlier in the week, and you have the lowdown on this amazing offer that's come back.
I do. And 5 years, COVID has a lot to pay, to answer for, right? But this is the first time in 5 years. So yes, free dining and drinks is back at selected Disney resorts and on selected ticket packages. And it's launching on the 18th of April.
Not long to wait then.
Not at all. And when you think about the great thing about the offer coming back is that everyone in the party dines for free when they buy the Magic ticket and they stay at a Disney resort.
That I can imagine the value in that is extensive.
I can't. I mean, some of the money that there was a competition to see if who got the right number at the end of it, because they were talking about them as like families were saving over $3,000. I mean, we all that's a lot of money, and if we can save that, but still have an incredible experience and have food, like children are hungry. We're hungry when we're there. There's food everywhere, so you don't have to say no. You can have it, and the great thing about it as well. is available during most school holidays. So there's some amazing arrival dates and the booking dates. You need to make sure you book between the 18th of April and the 7th of November 2024 to secure this. So very, very exciting.
That's great news. Great news. Love it. Brilliant. And you've talked so much about how incredible the food is. For me, as someone who hasn't been there, I just think about the Disney magic. And you've really opened to my eyes that the food is a massive part of the experience.
Huge part of the experience. It's iconic, and it's all over social all the time. So yeah, the food is iconic. So to be able to have and to be a part of that and to have this incredible offer, it all depends on what kind of Disney resort, your hotel you're going to stay in. There are 3 different categories where you can have anything from a free quick service meal. There's a Disney quick service dining plan, which you get the refillable resort mug. And this is incredible. This resort mug has a chip, like a microchip at the bottom. So when you go to put it in like your self-service drink, it registers it, and then you can choose your drinks. I mean, it's hot, you're thirsty, you're going to get your money's worth out of that. You could wake up with a coffee, and then you could go to bed with a hot chocolate. Like, this refillable resort mug will be incredible. And then you've got the Disney dining plan, which, if you're staying at more of the luxurious resorts, you have that, and in that you get a table service meal. So some of the most beautiful and exquisite Disney restaurants, you get that. You get, not only do you get the snack, but you also get a table service meal. You get a quick service meal during the day. So I can guarantee you wouldn't be hungry. You also get character dining. So if you do opt for and you stay at one of the more exquisite, luxurious resorts, you even get to use some of your table service credit to do a character dining and a character breakfast. The characters are there. You don't go looking for them. You don't queue up for them. They're there while you're having food, and the photographs you capture at that time, it's priceless. And amazing that you maybe would have to, we talked about budgeting and planning, but this is included in this offer if you stay at one of the more luxury resorts.
So, Amy-Lou, the Dine Around offer is very exciting. And for anyone listening that's been thinking about booking their Disney trip of a lifetime, you'd be silly not to take advantage of this. So let's just have a little recap about what we need to do.
Well, you need to stay for a minimum of 5 nights and to a maximum of 21 nights. I mean, I only can dream of a 21-night stay at Disney. You need to book your magic ticket. So the magic ticket means that you get is better value than buying it on the gate. Just don't buy it on the gate. You get your park hopper. But one thing we didn't mention yet is the memory maker. So the memory maker is a photo, almost like app that you get, where all around the park there are photographers who are willing to take your picture. Now, Amy, tip, take advantage of this. This is within your magic ticket and means that these photos, they scan a QR code and then they go onto your phone. It's included in your ticket. You don't pay for these tickets. You can then share them on social media. So the magic ticket really is the way forward. Also, if you're going to be staying at one of the resorts, I mean, let's go over it. Early theme park entry, extended evening park hours. You can book your dining 60 days before you even get to Disney. Complimentary transportation. There's also complimentary car parking. So if you are driving, and you can drive between the parks if you want to, that's included. And then you get individual lightning lanes. So if you want to do like the old-fashioned fast pass, the lightning lanes, you can purchase those at 7 a.m. So when you stay at a Disney resort, it really does pay for itself.
There are definitely lots of benefits, and I can imagine that they are stunning.
Really, so even all the transportation, when you stay, I think one of my highlights was on the monorail and going through the monorail goes through a hotel, and I was just looking, I'm sure it was a Polynesia, and I was looking down, and you went through the gift shop. It was mind-blowing. And some of them have the skyline where you go in like little cable cars. The transportation is like the park itself, it's extraordinary.
What's not to love? Oh, Amy-Lou, you are winning the award for Queen of Disney, Disney Princess.
Thank you. I will accept it.
I have always dreamt about when I will get to go, and potentially this year will be my first time to visit. But I almost feel now that I cannot wait, and I should just take advantage of this offer and get on a flight and go there. You have really inspired me. I picture it in my mind, and it just really does sound so incredible. I can see why it is such an iconic experience. It is a holiday of a lifetime for so many people around the world, and I can understand now your passion.
Oh, well, I just love talking about it. I love helping people because I want everybody to have the most amazing experience. And if I can give them a little bit of a top tip or a little hack to make that holiday the best it can be, then I feel like I've done a good job.
Where you have on the podcast. Thank you so much. And where can people find you, Amy-Lou, if they want to reach out, get any of your additional tips, or just follow your Disney journeys? Because I know you put them over your social media.
Oh yeah, if it's not makeup to match your ears, if it's not just putting the outfits together, yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm known as the $1,000,000 Mermaid. Please come along. You'll be able to see them. I've got the videos of when I got engaged, my hen do's, my what I call my Disney do's. They're all on there. So yeah, you can come along and fill in the gaps of the story that we've told today.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to be scrolling through the archives, Amy-Lou, after this podcast recording. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening as well. And like Amy-Lou said, you can reach out to her for any additional tips and information. But are not just travel consultants. This is what they're there for. They will be your guides, your experts. They will help you plan that holiday. I know there's been so much information taken in the podcast. You don't have to remember it all. They are there to help you and plan that trip of a lifetime. So do get in touch with your Not Just Travel consultant. However, if you're listening and you think, well, I don't have one, that is not a problem. Log on to our website. We have a postcode tracker there. So just pop in your postcode and we will connect you with one of our incredible Not Just Travel consultants who can help you on that Disney journey. I hope you have enjoyed the episode as much as I have. I hope you're feeling all of that Disney magic. Please rate, review, share, subscribe. It really does help the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.